Neve saa moja ni dakika 32. Ikipindi ne Vuuka bucheke kuziraganga budidi kuririsiza kutangira saa 11 mbagizisa ezya saa 4 kamili karune bedage edition dumweri 22 omweri gono gwikirange mhiga gono ogwere 2023 komoro maganga kumangana agadidaganga kuba MCA nenda mangondo gamo na kanuni ko bedage hamnindo mgeni kuchuraga muganda ogwa SRC arakobola kwi odo ivaha makuzirile embere wizirize iriteba ingana gani obede free kote makubitira ku 22942 notangani ndingana bokano omba kubitira ku mtandao gitego WhatsApp namba nebere ahere 7 ahere 5 kila vine karibu Vuuka buche karibu sana. Asante ligari fanona rakwibugiza ku ibenevu
kidogo ni kigumu. Humera mimi naongea kikisa.
Yes, tongea.
Humera wananga Nelly Ashubwe. Erlanga kisa. Ekolanga kasi ndo mkanda kwa Salaries and Remuneration Commission. Kwa ufupi SRC. Yes.
Mandate yenu kama SRC. Unajua vile tunasikia tu Salaries and Remuneration. What do you guys do?
Utanikubalia niongee yote Kiswahili na Kizungu?
Yes.
Okay. SRC inapatikana katika kipengee cha 230 ya Constitution na iko na mandate 3. Mandate ya kwanza ni kuhakikisha ya kwamba wage bill is physically sustainable and also affordable. Wage bill ni those salaries that are paid out to workers in the government of Kenya, not in the private sector, but public servants. That's number 1. Number 2, SRC's second mandate is to review, set and advise on remuneration and benefits of state officers. And number 3, SRC's mandate is to advise, mark that one, on remuneration and benefits of other public officers. Other public officers are people like the teachers, the doctors, the nurses. I'm just giving an example. And those are the ones that work in government. Now, state officers, to be a state officer, it will be stated under Article 260 of the Constitution. For example, we have state officers of the national government, like just want to give a few examples: the president, vice president, deputy president, cabinet secretaries, members of parliament, the speakers, judges, magistrates, and etc. When you go to the county governments, state officers are governors, deputy governors, speakers, MCS, and CECs. Now, CECs are the equivalent of cabinet secretaries. I'm just giving a few examples. So that is basically what we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
But umesema mambo ya ku-advise. So you only advise this idea teachers?
Advice on the national government and the county government on other public officers that are not state officers. What that means is that you come up with a framework of payment of remuneration and benefits and advise the employer that this is what you should pay the roles found either at the national government or at county governments for other public officers who are not state officers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Asante sana.
Yes.
So mnatumia criteria gani kufikia, like let's go kwanza kwa state officers?
Yes.
Because mambo na governors unapata CCs, MCAs ni kitu mpya sana huku Kenya. As in, okay, si mpya sana, it's been 12-13 years.
Yes.
But it's something new that was not there.
Thank you very much. Before SRC was set up in the Constitution, hapo nyuma kila mwajiri wa serikali alikuwa na amua mishahara za wafanyikazi wake. For example, the president would say these ministers will be paid ABCD. Then the government moved away from there and formed a board that would now look at people's remuneration and benefits, the salaries, the basic salaries, the allowances and the benefits. It is from that board that SRC was created, and it was put in the constitution now as an independent commission. Okay? So the criteria we use is, first of all, you've got to do what we call a job evaluation. You've got to evaluate a job. Like you never told me your name.
I'm Sharon Bieliza.
The one I spoke to yesterday.
Yes.
Now, Sharon, you work here at Vuuka FM. your role is what the commission, if you are a public servant, is what the commission, I want to use your role as an example, is going to do what you call a job evaluation. Okay? Now, for the commission to do a job evaluation, a lot of things have to be done. And before I go to the job evaluation, the commission has now been in place for the last, I think this is the 12th year or something like that. We're about to finish 12 years. Now, the SRC Act mandates or allows the commission to set the review cycle, like you're going to review jobs or review salaries of people after how many years. And because of that, SRC came up with a cycle of 4 years. So remuneration and benefits in government are reviewed after every 4 years. The first one was in 2013, 2017. The second one was 2017, 2021. The third one, which is now the current one, which you're about to release salary structures, is 2021, 2025. Okay? So after every 4 years, salaries are reviewed, remuneration and benefits are reviewed. Now, let me maybe make it easier for the listener to understand the meaning of the word review. Now, many people have blamed SRC for having reduced their salaries. It's far from it. We don't do that because the law does not even allow us to reduce anyone's salary. There are provisions in the law which, if you want to reduce a worker's salary, you have to follow a particular procedure. For example, during the COVID period, there are many companies in the private sector that were facing closure. And they were weighing between closure and cutting down what we're paying people so that we can remain afloat. That one you discuss with the workers, you discuss with trade unions, you discuss with the government, that this is what you're facing, can you be allowed to? And you also, the importance of discussing with workers for them to understand. Tell them, if you insist on getting this and we're not working because of COVID, we are going to close down. So which is better? To stay on and pay a little, and it will never do that because legally it's not allowed. So now we are currently at the third remuneration review cycle. Let me explain. So the first year of these 4 years started in 2021, 22, then 2022, 23, 23, 24, 24, 25. So that would be the end of 4 years. And in 25, I think the fourth cycle will start on 1st of June 2025. Okay, so the first 2 years of these 4 years where we are currently, we had a zero review. That's 2021, 22, 22, 23. We did not review anyone's salary even by 1 shilling. Why? The government did not have money. We had just come from the COVID period, so the government was not having money. And remember, when to review a salary, even to move it up, the government must have money. Otherwise, you're going to review to move it up on what basis? So, having said that 2021, 22, 22, 23 had zero review. We are now currently at 2023, 24, which is the third year of the 4 years. The third year of the 4 years and the fourth year of the 4 years, the review has been done slightly small, but not for all jobs. Okay?
Yes.
I will explain why. Before you do a job evaluation, a lot has to be done. A survey, a market survey has to be done and say, how are people being paid in the market out there? You do a survey in the private sector, you do a survey in other countries that have a similar economy or an economy closer to the one of Kenya. And you also even do a survey even in other economies that are bigger, just to find out a job like the one for Sharon. How are people being paid, like in other radio stations, in other radio stations in other countries? How are people being paid? You're going to do that survey, and then you'll come up with a particular conclusion that currently this job of Sharon is here. If you're supposed to be getting 100%, you're at 50. Okay? So now, when we now come to do the job evaluation, we have our survey outcome here. You will ask the employer to give you what you call a job description. Sharon, I know you have a job description.
Yes.
It is in the job description that will explain what you do, who you report to, who reports to you, what you control, and the impact of your decisions. If you make a decision today to say the wrong thing on air, what will that mean for Vuuka? You get the point?
Yes.
So we now have the survey, we have the job description. Okay? As we do the job evaluation, we get a particular outcome. We will also do what you call a comparison. I want to compare your job with somebody in some other, like, which other radio station do we have? Mulembe, Ramogi. I want to compare Sharon's job within the same sector. How are people being paid? To know whether, Sharon, you're being paid low or high, or you're somewhere close to what is supposed to be. The third point, The first one was the survey, second one is the job description, the third one now is the comparison.
Mm-hmm.
The fourth point, which is very key, is I have now done the job evaluation. I have now attached a job grade to this job. I need to attach a salary. How much money does government have that it wants to use for purposes of paying salaries? That is very key, because that's what is going to inform me. That even as I review Sharon's job, how much money can I add her, or should I leave her at the same place? So when you review a job, you can leave the remuneration benefit of a worker at the way it is if there is no money. You can go up if there is no money. The going up now depends on how much money government has dedicated to the payment of salaries, benefits, and allowances. With those 4 points, I am ready to now come up with a salary structure for you. Before I release it, I will do what we call stakeholder engagement. It's called public participation.
Mm-hmm.
I must public participate on this issue because there are those that this is going to directly impact. They must know where we are coming from, and I must give them an opportunity to give me their written views on my proposed salary structure.
Mm-hmm.
We will look at those views which are written, we look at them, we see whether there's something we can consider, or if we feel what they've said and what we've said is almost the same, and then we proceed after we've done around the clock a complete public participation, so that by the time we are releasing the salary structures, the employer is aware of where SRC is and is aware what it means in terms of the individual employer's budget when it comes to payment of remuneration and benefits. I think I've answered your question.
Yes, kwanza vizuri sana.
Asante sana.
Now tufike hapa. Okay, hata nimelewa hilo swali lenye niliona hata walimu the other time.
Yes.
Walibebeshwa, as in job group ili change, lakini mshahara ikabaki same. So now let's come here, ikitu ya MCAs. Even in our own county Vihiga,
yes,
they are not attending plenary sittings juu ya mshahara.
Yes.
So I really wanted to know, ini mshahara walijua before they went into campaign mode, blah blah blah. Hii mambo ya MCAs, please, expound on it.
So it so happened that by the time MCAs are coming on board, even members of parliament, they've done the elections, they've been elected and they're back. SRC has completed what I've been going through, the job evaluation, and it has been able to produce or to release a new salary structure.
Yes.
So they may say that they didn't know about it, maybe because they didn't know that it's there or something. But you see, let me say something that is a little bit related to what you're asking me. You've gone for elections and you serve for a period of 5 years. And it ends, you need to go back to the electorate for them to again vote you in or vote you out. When you come on board, you cannot say it's a continuation of that contract. The other one ended because you're required to seek a new mandate to be able to come back or not to come back. Having said that, I'm not saying that MCAs should not be paid well. All I'm saying is, what we removed from what was being paid in the previous parliament is plenary sitting allowance. And even before this plenary sitting allowance was removed, a lot of stakeholder engagement was done. Okay? But where now maybe the problem may come in is that this stakeholder engagement was done with the members, the MCAs who left, because they were the ones in office. But remember, there is an employer at the county level. So the stakeholder engagement was done by the employer. So the employer was aware that when these new MCAs come on board, plenary sitting allowance will not be there because we've also removed for members of parliament. And I'm aware of what you're telling me, that they have closed shop in terms of they're not happy with what SRC has given them. Remember, SRC works within a particular bracket of the budget. We are not the ones who, ours is to set a rate, but money comes from the government. So if government says, we can do our projections and even say, for this third remuneration review cycle, government, you wanted to give us, let's say, let me give an example. Let's say you wanted to give us 30 billion. And government comes and tells us, we don't have 30 billion, but we have 15. You know, we cannot refuse. We will take that 15 and adjust and make sure it fits where it is supposed to fit. And I'm not saying that when we were adjusting, we left out MCAs. Though this is a discussion before Parliament, and it's also a discussion, it's also a matter before court. So when we talk about it, we should be careful not to litigate also on this radio. But let me say this, I always say when there is a problem, parties that are concerned meet and talk.
Mm-hmm.
You get the point?
Yes.
And I'm aware that there is a body that has been formed to articulate issues of MCAs. It has written to the commission. It would like to have an engagement with the commission, and I think it's in the pipeline. We're going to sit down and talk. But remember, the one who pays is the employer. It's the employer who knows whether they have the money or they don't have the money. Mm-hmm. So in all this discussion about the pay of the MCAs, the employer must be involved. But the commission is willing to talk to those who want to talk to the commission to be able to understand why the pay of the MCA is where it is. I agree that MCAs should be paid well. I agree totally. But it has to be within a budget that we have. Yes.
Asante. Na sijui kama raundi hii hiyo budget itawafavor, I don't know. So is there hope for them? Naona kama kwa sasa wamekataa kuenda plenary sittings until the allowances are restored. So is it something that can happen overnight?
It's not something that can happen overnight. What can happen is that, as I said, discussions must continue between SRC and the employer. Are you with me? Because even if you were to meet, for example, that association, we will meet and hear them out. But the association does not pay these salaries. Salaries come from government. Government is there to tell us, look, even if you remove this allowance and the counties have been brought to a halt because MCAs are not sitting, we will give you this money. Can you deal with that issue? If there is money, we shall be able to do what we must do. You get the point?
Yes.
For us as a commission, we work within a particular space of the kind of money that the government has. That one, we must understand that we don't just come from nowhere and say, Sharon, this is going to be a salary. It has to be within a budget. Even you, when you leave your house to go to the supermarket, do you just go picking things and your pocket looks like this?
No.
You have a list and almost attached a price, because we've been buying these things so you know the price. And then you go and buy your things, you get there, you find something is expensive, you have to adjust something else for that to fit. That's the budget we work with. The government has given us this amount of money. When I say given us, it does not literally give us SRC money. It tells us we have this budget that we can allocate to the increments that you're talking about. But the issue of MCAs is an issue that is under discussion. And I don't want to say there's hope or there's no hope. Discussions normally come up with something good, positive or something negative or something in between the two. Let's see how the discussions go.
Okay.
Yes.
Asante. Now, besides mambo na plenary sittings, they are also looking at their mandate.
Yes.
Wanasema they are the first people that CC constituents tuna fall at their doors when we need help. So wanataka kitu ilingane kidogo na ya wabunge.
Pesa iko wapi? Pesa ikiwa hivyo vitu vyote si vigumu. Ilingane kidogo inawezekana kama pesa iko. Number two, let me say something. It's unfortunate that the law has not allowed the legislature at the county assembly, at the county level, to have a budget that is directly allocated to them the way members of parliament have their own budget. It's very unfortunate that the law has not allowed that to happen. And I look forward to this MCS sitting down and coming up with laws and speaking with the national government, the Senate, to pass a law where when budgets are being released to counties, there is a budget directly released to the legislature. That will be a totally different story. But you see, the budget that is released at the county level from the national government goes directly to the executive. That is the government's, the governor's office. You get the point?
Yes.
So because of that, I must say that for even this MCA to be able to carry out certain duties that require money, lazima wapange laini pale kwa governors, the executive, for them to be allocated money for this and money for that. But I hope that as we discuss this issue and as we look for a solution, and once the solution is found and MCAs resume their sittings, they should think through a law that Senate can pass, a law that will allow them to be autonomous in terms of having their own budget allocated to them. Yeah.
Asante sana. Just going kando kidogo, did you also set the salary for the prime CS and CASS?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
We did, because these are offices that have been set up by His Excellency the President as per the law through the Public Service Commission. You get the point? And the Public Service Commission, being the employer, brought to the commission a request that can you evaluate these jobs. The request was accompanied by 1, a budget, 2, the job description. We proceeded and evaluated those roles and attached a salary to it, and attached an allowance to it, and attached everything else that is supposed to be attached to it. Yes, we did, because these are jobs in government, and that's the work of SRC.
Thank you.
Yes.
When you were explaining the mandate of the SRC, point number 1.
Yes.
Just burudia tena.
The mandate.
Yes.
Okay. The first mandate is to ensure that the public wage bill, what that means is the payments of salaries, benefits and allowances to workers of government is physically sustainable and is affordable. You know, you can afford something today, Sharon, and 1 month down the line you've been eating chicken every day because uko na pesa. Unafika mahali pesa zinaisha. You can no longer afford it in the month of July. You must be able to afford what the commission has set as a remuneration and a benefit for the duration of time it is meant to last. That's the first mandate. We make sure that we keep the wage bill at levels that government can afford. Okay?
Yes.
And mandate number 2 was to review, set and advise on remuneration and benefits of state officers. And I've explained to you who state officers are. These are found under Article 260. You'll have the president, the deputy president, the CS, the judges, magistrates, and so forth and so on. I'm just giving examples. We also have state officers at county level. That's number 1. Number 3 is to advise on remuneration and benefits of other public officers. And other public officers is any other officer who works in government that is not a state officer. To be a state officer, the law must say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tukirudi tu juu, according to the wage bill, salaries hizo ubaki. Lakini kitu inaweza badilika ni marupurupu.
Yes. Marupurupu sasa zile allowances.
Allowances, so hizo ndo zinaambatana kabisa na vile pesa ziko, the wage bill zaidi.
I wouldn't really look at that way. I would say that both marupurupu na mishahara zenyewe ukiweka pamoja, they make up the wage bill. Of course there may be one that is a little bit higher, but let me address that issue in the sense that historically this government used to give people allowances to raise their pay. And the government was avoiding to raise the basic salary, because the basic salary is the one that is usually used to calculate your pension.
Yes.
So if you raise a basic salary, it means that even pension has to be up, which is a plus for the person going to retire. But in an event where government does not have money and the pension is that up, it becomes a little bit of a problem. So that is why you find 247 allowances in the public service. But there's a history towards that 247 allowances. It's a story that we have already started in terms of studying it. And sooner than later, when we are done with the release of the remuneration and benefit structures for the third remuneration review cycle, we shall be firming up on a position on the issue of allowances. Yeah.
Because there were some quotas saying kuna allowances, kuna watu wanapata allowances zenye ziko juu ukilinganisha na mshahara.
Unaona kulipwa allowance ama mtu fulani kulipwa allowance, tutapata hiyo recommendation from the employer. The employer ndiye atasema huyu Sharon wangu kwa sababu anafanya kazi fulani tungependa alipwe responsibility allowance ama risk allowance ama night shift allowance, kama hizo, hardship allowance, whatever. It is the employer who says, but there are some that are in the law. For example, leave allowance, which is paid once in a year, commuter, and then house allowance. Hizo zinapatikana katika sheria. Lazima mtu alipwe. So for us is to set a rate. But it's the employer who will give us a category of employees who should be paid. Okay. SRC does not say wewe ulipwe na wewe usilipwe. But let me give an example of doctors. We have doctors who work directly with the patients in the hospitals.
Yes.
The ones called at night to go and attend to an emergency and that kind of thing. So you might find that doctor in the hospital is paid a particular allowance. Maybe let me put it night what? right call allowance or something like that. Utakuta yeye analipa hiyo. But we also have a doctor who does administration works at the head office of the Ministry of Health. Wewe kama Sharon, unafikiria wote walipa that allowance?
No.
Kuna yule ataamshwa usiku na kuna yule anafanya administration work. Who should be paid that allowance?
The one who works at night.
So now for SRC, it will be the employer who will tell us, pay this doctor who works directly with patients, the one we call at night to come and attend to a patient when there is an emergency.
Thank you.
Unaelewa?
Yes.
So that you find it's the same cadre, doctors, all of them, but one works directly with patients, one does administration work.
Now I see why the Bible says my people perish because of lack of knowledge.
Exactly. Today I know, Sharon, you're going to be a knowledgeable girl. When you hear about SRC being battered, being told that you reduce people's salaries, I believe you'll be able to tell your listeners that we don't do that. We've never done that.
True.
Yes.
That's why nataka tuingie news briefs. Sambiri thaka turahokora bakuguraganga mateba. So nobe kwindi liteba dio sidio singana gani obede fili kutuma kubitira ku 22940 nutanganira na Vuuka. Kukeregevuza hano nindu mgeni yange. Enze ni Sharon Bieriza.
Thank you.
Thank you.